Hello everyone, welcome back to Real Reds Talk, the #1 independent fan channel dedicated to Manchester United. The title of the show is Glazers to sell by spring. That's the report coming out from a very credible journalist in Simon Stone. We've also got some quotes on Casemiro's life at United since his big move from Real Madrid. And we're going to discuss the United players' performances in the World Cup so far. So plenty to talk about with Severe, Sam and Dan. Thank you for joining us, lads. How are you doing, Sam?
Long week, as we just said off air. Been a long week, so looking forward to... I've got a weekend to myself, so yeah, looking forward to football, video games, and some whiskey. It's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, my exact same weekend on the cards. Seems like your second team, Dan, is just got through there. I know they was kind of guaranteed anyway, but had a bit of a slip up, didn't they, against South Korea, didn't they?
Yeah. So that's twist in there, in that it's like been every group has a twist in there in themselves. So, yeah, loved it.
Yeah, a lot of underdogs going far. I can see it happening. Potential underdog in the final. Who knows? So they're enjoying the World Cup.
It's really looking forward to it that much, but yeah, a lot of memorable games so far. So yeah, can't complain.
Yeah. Would you go as far to say maybe probably the best group stages we've seen in the World Cup?
I think so.
It's up there, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, it's one of them.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it.
I mean,
myself.
definitely has more shocks than lots of ones we've seen before.
Oh yeah, 100%. What, Belgium, Germany, Uruguay already out? Is any other big one?
Yeah.
Denmark as well, I think.
Denmark's out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a tournament full of surprises. Yeah, before we get into the show, guys, just a quick one for viewers. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers, which would be an amazing achievement. If you want to subscribe to our channel and help us reach that goal, just click the button in the corner of your screen and smash a like on the video as well, if you enjoy the content. We'll jump straight into the big story, of course, the constant developments. Since the Glazers announced that they would officially want to sell the club, and the most recent update coming from this is Simon Stone with the BBC, and he's reported that Manchester United could have new owners by the end of the season. A deal is likely to be done by spring 2023. My instant thought to this, Sam, is what happens with the transfer window now? Because you would think that the Glazers aren't going to invest another 50, 60 million pound into the club when they know they're selling it, right? So does our transfer business go right out the window, do you think? No pun intended there, but at least until the new owners come in, do you think?
Did we think the Glazers were going to spend anything anyway?
Well, you see all these links with Gakpo, and you see the links with the right back Frimpong. So
Yeah. No, I get, like, I'm sure Ten Hag's a fan of these players, and he wants them in, and I'm sure that he would bring them in if he was allowed to. But I don't think we were going to spend in January anyway, unless somebody came up at an extremely low cost and it was too hard to turn down, or we got rid of quite a few players like Swansea, Jones, like name some players basically who we don't want on the books anymore. So I don't think we were going to get anybody anyway. So it doesn't really change anything for me, because they weren't going to spend, and now they've got another reason to not spend. So we're in the same boat in my head anyway, in my opinion.
So you don't think even with Cristiano going in his wages off the books, you still won't replace that at all?
Unless a deal comes up where it's like, all right, this is a really good financial deal, or it's a loan, or a stopgap sort of cheap thing. I don't see someone like Gakpo, because he's been quoted, what, 50 million euros?
Yeah, it's going up and up and up, so that every minute.
I don't see that happening. As much as I know Ten Hag likes him and wants him and stuff, I don't see that happening. So if it was going to happen, it'd be a loan or a stopgap thing. But I don't see us spending that amount of money anyway. So for me, Ronaldo doesn't really change that. It should. Definitely should. And we definitely should be investing, but we won't. So.
Okay. So there, we haven't really spoken about the Glazers situation, at least on a live yet, or in depth. What are your thoughts on the Glazers selling, and who would be the right fit for you to take over?
Just going to comment on your question to Sam.
Yeah.
You know, when we got the news that the Glazers were going, and you guys were all celebrating in the group chat, what did I say? That was the first thing I said. I was like, what's going to happen in January? And then you guys were like, you should be celebrating. You shouldn't be saying this. But yeah, here we are talking about that. Because I was worried. I was like, well, what's going to happen then? I mean, if they go, I mean, how are we going to spend any money? You know? But so far, from like all the news that I've been hearing, it doesn't sound like it's an issue. That's one. Two, they don't, when they're spending the money, it's not like their money. They're spending money, United's money. But there's nothing to indicate that they're not going to spend. And everything, I don't know if you guys have heard, but then there's rumors that we've had talks with Cody Gakpo already.
Yeah.
And it's 43 million. Basically, it's not 50 or 60.
It's 50 million euros, isn't it?
I was saying euros, not pounds.
Yeah. Yeah, but in my head is I always go by pounds.
They always put it up because to make it seem like more.
Yeah,
they always put euros to make it seem like more.
Yeah, no, it's 43 million pounds, which is fine, which is absolutely, that would be a steal if we're gonna get him for that amount.
Yeah.
And with what we've seen so far, that's brilliant. Regarding the whole Glazer situation, I don't know. My celebrations are delayed until I know who's coming in because, one time I heard about, I don't know if you heard about this American company, HB, is it HB Sports or something?
Okay.
Some two American billionaires that like to invest. I think they own the Mets, they own the New Jersey Devils, and they were going in for Crystal Palace, as far as I was aware. So they're like crazy. They invest a lot in a lot of sports franchises. I just don't know if they're big enough to go for Man United, or even if they get Man United, I don't know if they'll be big enough to be able to, spend and all that. So my Glazer celebrations are on hold until I know who comes in, because better the devil than the one you don't. So I'm not just getting ahead of myself here. One billionaire is just the same as another, unless it's like Apple, or something, or apart from that, yeah.
I appreciate the fact you're being cautiously optimistic, because we know another person could come in who's similar, which I'm going to ask a question to Dan about that in a second. But surely you can celebrate the fact that this 17-year reign of absolute shit show is over. Like, sure, you can feel, happy about that.
Could be somebody worse in the wings. Could be somebody a lot worse.
Exactly.
You could,
I can't, because you don't know who else is going to come in, and by the, let's be honest. If the Glazers don't go, Ten Hag still stays and is playing really good football, and it seems already like they've kind of taken a slightly different direction in terms of like the new John Mercer and the new team, and if they start before, because let's be real, man, when Alex Ferguson and David Gill were there, everything was kind of rosy. Yes, it was still Glazers out, but David Gill was there running things, and if we have a situation like that, I really don't care. So no, I'm not celebrating. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if they go and then we get someone like this Todd Boehly who comes in, God knows, what we're gonna see next. So no, I'm not I'm not celebrating, man, until I know who's coming in. And
that's fair enough.
Yeah.
Each to their own. Dan, should we be careful the type of ownership that comes in? Let's say we do have another Glazer type, like Severe's referring to there. Should we be cautious about that?
Yeah, before answering that, that's the reason why I like Severe, because he sees from a very different angle with other myths to see. And now I'm in a bit of a doubt, like whether Glazers going at this point could affect us or backbite us, because you never know that now Glazers, when they know that they are going now, they will not spend a penny on this club. That's being considering January transfer window, where we were expecting another striker or a winger in place of Ronaldo. I don't think if Glazers they are going, then they will be willing to spend a penny on the transfer business. Mm-hmm. But if this could have been broke out after January, I think that could have been a better position in the club, because after January, whatever happens is still we are safe till the next summer. But now the January is has been put on the line. But yeah, now the thing is, Glazers selling the club, it's also in the hands of Glazers, so it's their choice to whom they will be selling it. To be honest, and I think, but at the same time, the one who are buying the club, they will be careful at this time, because they know that if they do not perform well as an owner, then they will know that what fans can do. The protest, this has been a worldwide protest, and they everybody knows like what fans can do. So any owner, he knows that the expectations are set in this club, and if they come in, they have to give output and provide their all in this club. And but yeah, to be honest, I still am in a like hanging in the middle, whether I should be happy about Glazers going out, or whether should I be feeling a bit sad that at this point they are going, when the things can go even worse than what it is now. But yeah, so at this moment, choosing a owner, next owner, but by the there are two things on this one. One is Glazers have to sell it, and the other side is the one who is willing to buy it. So, but now I am putting my concentration more on the ones who are willing to buy this club, and they will be careful in buying in this club, considering the expectations of the fans.
Yeah. Well, one point I want to throw back to you on this is it's not going to be a similar situation where when the Glazers first bought us, they obviously leveraged debt on us to buy us, basically with a credit card, and they've kept that debt ever since. I imagine, similar to what Chelsea, you have to provide funds that you're going to invest a certain amount of money. So you're going to invest a certain billions for the infrastructure, etc., blah, blah, blah. That's going to be in the kind of contract to buy United. So it's not going to be a similar ownership. Maybe 10 years down the line or whatever, they start taking a lot more dividends out and this kind of stuff. But I don't get the initial kind of... I don't look. I disagree with you, but that's what football's all about. It's about opinion. But yeah, I agree. I agree with some of the points he was making. Sam, the three main models of ownership in contention, if reports are to be believed, are the three big ones that we've seen. Are the state ownership of Dubai, a US investment company, or someone like a Jim Ratcliffe, basically a multi-billionaire who's also a fan of the club. This in itself is splitting the fan base, because the debate is being put out there that unless we have a state ownership, we won't be able to compete with the likes of Newcastle or City. So how do we avoid that stumbling block going forward? Because these type of ownerships, obviously, they have a questionable history, don't they?
It's all about morality, really, isn't it? It's where your line is and where you draw the line in terms of like your ignorance or your lack of wanting to know where this money's coming from and who's putting the money into this club. There are no kind billionaires. Like, no billionaire is clean. No billionaire has clean hands. So you just got to sort of draw your line where you would, the lesser of whatever evil you want to put up with at this point. My dream, I've said it on the show before, is fan ownership, but it's never going to happen, because in order to do so, somebody as rich as a Jim Ratcliffe or someone like that would have to come in, buy the club, erase the debt, and then hand the club to the fans. And what billionaire is going to do that? It's not happening. There's a reason why the billionaires, they don't do shit like that, because they want all the money, so they're not going to do that. So my dream is never going to happen. We're never going to have a fan ownership. We're never going to have a system like Bayern Munich 50+1 and stuff like that. That would be my personal dream, but I'd just make myself upset and miserable if I kept like sort of thinking about that and pleading for that, because it's not happening. The one thing I don't want is the state ownership, like a Saudi-backed government or a government with a history of human rights abuses and treating people of different ethnic backgrounds and sexualities and women in terrible fashion. I don't want that at this club, and I don't want our club to be built on the backs of death, and as Dan said very eloquently in the World Cup preview, built on graveyards of people. I don't want that at Manchester United, but I don't have a choice in it. Like, it's not up to me, it's up to the Glazers, and they're going to go with whoever's the highest bidder, and that's where we're at. Because with as much as I out of those three options, Jim Ratcliffe is probably the lesser of the evils, but again, he's not clean either. I don't.
So would you rather take that?
Yeah.
And then let's say we're getting fourth every year than winning the league and having a state ownership.
I think I don't want to win everything at the cost that it would come with a state ownership backed club. That's my opinion. I want to win. I want to win trophies and stuff like that, but I don't want it at any cost. I can't erase that from my mind like some Newcastle fans have, like some City fans have, PSG fans. I can't do that. But that's just me. That's my personal opinion. I can't tell anybody else how to support this club or what to draw the line or whatever. But that's my personal opinion. The lesser of the evils is the Jim Radcliffe option. And as long as, like Severe says, Ten Hag is playing attractive football, he's getting the club where we're going. As long as we keep this manager, I think we can build something. We might not be the PSG or the City where we can spend absolute shit tons of money unaccounted without financial fair play regulations. But if we could play entertaining football, win a couple of trophies, like, I'll be all right with that if that means the cost is a lot less in human death, basically.
Yeah. No, makes sense. I agree with you. Is there any fear from your side, Severe, that someone like a Todd Bowley could come in and just decide, you know what, I don't want this manager. I want to knock Old Trafford down. I want to call it the Team Viewer Stadium, etc., etc. Because we saw what happened with Tuchel. Came in, boom, it's in a bit. Bye-bye. A lot of Chelsea fans weren't happy about that. Could you see potential of this happening?
It's possible, but I don't think it'll happen because the Chelsea situation was like, it wasn't all rosy when Tabuhi came in. Chelsea were already struggling, sort of. And let's not forget the drama that was surrounding their owner at the time. So all of that kind of played into what happened with the manager and what was happening with the squad and the team and all that. I think if any new owner comes in, any sensible owner, or let's just say fairly sensible, they will be able to see that there's a bit of a lift going on in the team, and hopefully they'll be, they'll show some faith in the manager that we have, and believe in the project that's going on now. So I doubt we'll get something like that from any manager. Obviously anything is possible, but I doubt that would be the case.
I don't know if I asked you this. Do you have a preference on the ownership who comes in?
No,
because let me put a situation out there. Sorry to think it.
Yeah.
Because this analogy that's been described, and I've heard it many times, right, is there's this train going at 100 miles an hour, right? Newcastle and Man City are on that train. Then you've got that moral line that Sam was talking about there, where you either jump on that train to keep up with the competition that's in there, because a lot of these clubs, the amount of money that Newcastle have got in City, you can't compete with them unless it's a state ownership. So do you jump on that train so you can stay at the very top of your game? Because obviously fans want the competition, they want to win, but then obviously that comes with the dark side of things as well. So where's your preference lie with that?
Well, we already have data to prove that's not always success. Liverpool have done it without having to jump on that train. Arsenal currently sit top of the Premier League without any without any...
Invested a lot of money though. A lot of fucking money.
But then I would imagine a owner like Sir Jim Ratcliffe, and mind you, he's not going to be the owner. It's the Ineos group that would be the owner of Manchester United. So it won't be Jim Ratcliffe owns it.
Yeah.
It will be the group. And if they're able to invest 150 million, and we go the same route that Liverpool did, because look how much money they spent on Salah and Man. I mean, 3 of their transfers were like one of ours in terms of value. Do you understand? So it's possible if you're winning, if you have a manager with a plan, with a discernible playing style,
scouting network.
You can go out and
build a fucking scouting network.
Exactly. Just scouting. Yeah, but we don't have to spend big. I mean, how much did City spend in the last window? Thing. No, but do you get my point? Like, you don't have to have that sort of arrow. And with Newcastle, let's just give them, the season and see what happens, because they haven't really spent stupid amounts of money. They've just bought wisely. So it's possible to actually have a decently rich owner and still compete at the highest level.
There's 2 things on that. Go on. Sorry. No, go on.
I was just going to say, because winning brings in more and more revenue. Look what Liverpool achieved in just 2 years. I mean, all their sponsors changed. They had like New Balance. With Nike. They've signed this crazy Nike deal. I mean, this is what happens when you win. So no, I don't think you need that massive owner to. I mean, if you can have all the money in the world, if you don't do shit with it. I mean, we're the perfect example. When we had blowing money for years, who spent more than us in the past 5 years?
Mm.
And,
Well,
and what has that gone to?
we're level with Man City, aren't we, in that respect, where it's around about £1 billion.
But I'm saying, so we're level in spending, but in terms of like where we are, so money doesn't really guarantee anything if you don't know how to use it.
It's not just players that we need, though. It's the infrastructure, it's the stadium. It's going to cost a couple of £1 billion straight away as soon as anyone walks in.
Training
ground,
scouting set network.
It's a whole revamp of a lot of things that's going to cost billions and billions of pounds. And with Liverpool as well, it's very, very rare their situation where they struck gold with pretty much every player that they bought. Haven't they done that? If they hit and miss with a couple, then they wouldn't be where they are, and it's not sustainable. If like that, you've seen Liverpool mention it loads of times. Even Klopp's mentioned it in his interviews about Man City. He said it's so hard to compete with him because they're spending like 50, 60 million on all these world-class players. They've got a world-class player in every position. When Liverpool rotate, they've got nowhere near the squad depth that Man City has. Nowhere near it.
Also,
and that's not sustainable for a long period of time.
City can just get rid as well. Like, they can spend 60 mil on a player. Oh, he's don't work. See you later. He's out the door the next season. You buy another one. So you have to be extremely smart with your purchases. You can't just be what City are doing.
That's very correct, and these are very valid points. But then, like Nick, you just said that it's very rare when Liverpool struck gold with all their players. Aren't we kind of doing the same thing with all the players that Ten Hag has gotten now? I mean, the only person that we haven't seen is Dubravka, but every other player that we have from Ten Hag right now is playing really well. It took Liverpool 3 years, so this is a thing where we won't be able to compete immediately, but in the next couple of years, if we are smart with all of, I mean, we bought how many players? 6 players. Was it 6? 5 or 6?
6.
Yeah, something.
Ten Hag has brought in. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Who's a flop out of all of them? Who's playing rubbish? None of them. So it's possible. It can happen. Ragnick said this himself. It's possible. If we get the right players, the right manager, the right players, you strike gold. It's possible. I think we can I think we can do it. Yeah.
Dan, I want to bring you in on this. Sorry, go on.
No, I understand your concerns. I was just going to say, I understand what you guys are saying, and it makes a lot of sense. But I'm just saying that it is possible, and we don't have to jump on that bandwagon. That being said, I'm happy with. I mean, if we get some kind of Dubai owner, like there's no clean billionaire, I wouldn't have any real problems with them, unless it's like some.
I get you.
Yeah.
Dan, I want to bring you in on this. Who would your personal preference be? Ownership model.
Yeah, being an Indian, I would have gone with Ambani. So,
yeah.
Not because of just for the country, because I know the type of businessman he is, and he has bought an IPL team, and it's not just buying, but the way they are on the top level for the last 10 years in that league, that just shows that how the owners are putting their efforts, their heart, and in that team. So that's what is missing in our club as well. So I want some owner who not only he is the richest, but he likes football and wants his team to be on the top, and that's where. And I personally want a richest owners, because it's not just buying players in our club, but we have to set up that environment. We have seen the stadium, the condition of the equipments, the items the players uses, the environment, everything needs the upgradation, and we need owners who is able to spend more money, not only on buying players but also on the other areas as well. And that's why I don't want an owner who can just reach the asking price of the club, because if you just buy the club and then you are left with nothing to spend on the players or the environment. So yeah, personally I would go for as we have always been talking about the Middle East owners who are very rich, and that's how City are there on the top, and now Newcastle, you have seen that they are also coming on that same path. So we need that type of owners, and if not an richest ones, but at least we need someone who has a heart to build this club up and bring it to the level where it was 10-15 years before.
Yeah, I suppose the issue is, like we've all said, it's the Glazers who are selling it, aren't they? It's just going to be whoever the highest bidder is. So it could be absolutely anyone. We've not even heard anything remotely as to like who's close to getting it. It's just apparently they're going to sell it in the spring. and we're kind of waiting to find out on that. So it's going to be interesting when that happens.
Just
Go on.
ask you guys, how did Tottenham build their stadium? This is just a genuine question.
How did
they
Tottenham
manage to do that?
build the stadium?
Yeah, that
It
crazy
was,
stadium
it was
that
a
they
loan, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Didn't they loan
yeah,
it?
they leveraged it on the club and then pay back after a certain
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. Okay.
Arsenal
Yeah,
did this.
but that's obviously
Arsenal did the same thing as well, didn't they, with the Emirates?
yeah. That's obviously had a massive effect though on Tottenham's transfer businesses. I know they did. They got quite a few players in the summer, was it something like that? But prior to that, a lot of their windows, like they wasn't spending heavily, because of the stadium. So,
but they bought smart. And they did better than us in a lot of seasons.
I didn't
But
rate
anyway.
their window as much as everyone else did. I said that at the very start from the summer. Everyone was blowing it up. I didn't think it was as good as what people were making out personally. But again, that's
Which
just
window?
the one where you got
summer or-
Perisic, Jed Spence, Richarlison.
Oh no, not this one. When they sold Bale, I mean,
Yeah,
they've been buying smart and managing to keep their heads above the water while that stadium was being developed. That's what I mean. Not this one.
let's part that conversation. I'm gonna talk about Casemiro. Many of you probably noticed, he's been absolute flying form with Brazil in the World Cup, and this has prompted quite a few journalists to surface with some stories in regards to his move from Real Madrid. Apparently, Real Madrid's players. This is coming from Andy Mitten. Apparently, Real Madrid's players weren't happy when they heard Casemiro was being linked with a move away. When they realised he was set to join United, a group of senior players went to see Carlo Ancelotti and got straight to the point that Madrid cannot let him go. As conversations with Casemiro progressed, he told John Murtough he only wanted to know three things: where he lived, where he trained, and where he played. The gym environment in particular was something that he picked up on. He approved of the video that United sent over to him, and United had lent contact from Real Madrid. It was not unusual to see him lifting weights as early as 8 a.m. at their training ground. And a current teammate, Gabriel Jesus, has given him high praise. Casemiro is an extraordinary player. He doesn't get the respect he deserves, but I know how good he is. So a couple of different kind of quotes coming out about Casemiro there after his solid performance. Who was it against now? Who did he score against? Switzerland, was it?
Serbia.
Yeah.
Was it Serbia?
The first game was against Serbia. The second game was against
Switzerland, wasn't it?
Switzerland.
Sure.
Yeah.
The man himself, Casemiro, I'm going to come to you. I'm going to start with you first. How impressed have you been with him so far this season? This tournament, sorry.
Yeah, I've been watching him play for the last 10 years since where he is from Real Madrid. So I have always liked this player, and in Real Madrid also, as we know that the most of the players like Ronaldo, when he was there, Modric and Cruz, they were being talked about whenever Real Madrid are winning any titles. But at the behind the spine was Casemiro, who was making this happen. These type of players excel in their areas when he is handling the midfield and doing the defending part. So that's why the players, as you mentioned, that they were all concerned when the link was open with Manchester United, and because they know that he was one of the guy who helped other players to grow and to show their own qualities. So and I have seen him play for Real Madrid for many years, and I've seen that what a type of player he was. I actually would, if anyone would have told me that we are going for Casemiro, and I would have not believed that, because I know the type of player and the position where we were, especially in the dressing room. I've never believed that he would come to our club. But yeah, we are actually lucky, because we spent around 45 million, and somewhere near that, and he actually on his day, if his contract would have been more years in Real Madrid, then he would have definitely cost us more than 70-80 million, and he's that type of player. But at the same time, I still think that he has not reached that level of his standards when he plays for Manchester United, which now we have seen when he plays for Brazil. What a type of, he's a different player. But yeah, in Manchester United, he is yet to reach that level. Maybe more games and playing with the same group for continuous games could make it happen. But yeah, we have a player now, a defensive midfielder of whom we were craving for last 4 or 5 years after Carrick went, and now I think we have a player. But yeah, in the World Cup we have seen that how he's playing well, and he even scored that stunner, and he has
Mm.
played last 2 games. But I think he's not playing today. He's on the bench. But yeah, that could be a precautionary measures. But yeah, he has played both the games, and his passing rate has been more than 85%, which is a decent one for a central defensive midfielder. But yeah, I think yeah, we are going to benefit from him for the next at least 3 years. Now he's 29 or 30, at least for a central defensive midfielder, 34 till 34, he can play at a very high level.
And I mean, the way he's playing at the minute, Sevilla is still one of the best, very best central defensive midfielders, isn't he? You can see why the Madrid players didn't want him to go.
Yeah, he's clearly one of the best in the world at the moment. Like, there's literally no argument for that. And I think what I also like about it is because when we're linked with him, it was almost as if, there was a lot of negativity surrounding, his transfer at the time. I remember he's 30 was trending on Twitter that day, like the phrase he's 30, and everyone was just going on, he's 30, he's 30. And he's shown us now, and what I'm also impressed with him about in this World Cup is that it's not just about him being defensive. It's also his football knowledge. It's the way he's able to read the field. It's his leadership. There's a lot more. His passing range. There's so much more to his game that people don't really talk about, because obviously he had Cruz and Modric beside him, and he didn't have to do all of that. So, but now we're beginning to see that in the Brazil squad. When they played Serbia, remember he hit. I don't know if you guys remember when he hit the bar. With like a really, he had this like shot from outside the box. Yeah. So yeah, it's just Casemiro, I think, is what we should be calling him from now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's amazing. I'm so happy that we have him. And
Yeah.
it's funny how things work. It's funny how things work out, because I think he's a better fit for the squad now at the moment than say if we had De Jong.
Well, you just give me the perfect kind of segue there. Yeah, obviously.
Sorry, Nick. One more point to add is, like, when we have this type of player like a Casemiro, then he automatically brings in the confidence in the other players. So if you see
Exactly.
Casemiro is there in the middle, and the players attacking midfielders like Bruno Fernandes and Eriksen, they will feel comfortable in pushing ahead, and the players and the defenders also feel comfortable that we have a player like Casemiro playing ahead of us. So that the whole team's confidence builds up when we have this type of player.
Well, it's the same thing with having Lissandro in the team as well. So Maguire out of it, with all due respect. Like, he just breathes confidence. So you've got that spine and that core spine that's got confidence throughout, and you can play flush as a team then. Sevilla mentioned De Jong there, Sam. Obviously, disappointment we didn't get him in the summer. And I know it'd kind of, be hard to judge whether he would have been better or not. But do you think, in hindsight, now we've got Casemiro, that was a better fit for us?
I know it was a bigger disappointment for yourself than it was for the rest of us when De Jong didn't come. Sorry to bring bad memories.
We're still going to get him, so I'm not too fussed about it.
All right. He's a different sort of player, isn't he, De Jong? I know they've got a lot of the same qualities and a lot of the same attributes, and they're both very, very good players. But I think the skill set and the sort of attributes that Casemiro has are more what we need in the team. Like a more defensive-minded, breaking up play, tackling, great passing, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, De Jong is good at this stuff, but I think he's more advanced of a midfielder than a Casemiro is. I think we needed that person to just sit and be happy to stay at the back. He said it in an interview with Man United a couple of months ago, saying, my first thing is defending. I look at that, and that's the first thing. And that's the kind of guy we wanted. Like, you saw, there's a clip of me on the Instagram going on about a DM for about 20 minutes, just ranting, and this is the guy. I never, like Dan said, I never thought United would ever go for this guy. That's why I never mentioned him.
Quiet.
Yeah, that's why I never mentioned him. I was never like, oh yeah, we should go get Casemiro, because I was like, he's not coming to United. Like, Real Madrid not letting him go.
Yeah, it was impossible.
Yeah, we're not getting him. So,
and we have always talked about, like, we need a CDM like Casemiro.
Yeah. I was like, we're never gonna get him, and now he's here, and he's just like, yeah, I love this guy. I think I liked him. I think we were saying, oh, he's misplacing a couple of passes, and then he's going to get better as he goes along. And we've seen that, and we've seen it in Brazil. And then the goal against Chelsea, where him and Lissandro going into the crowd, and he's just hitting the badge and screaming. I was like, yes, he's fucking arrived. He's here, and we love him. He's fantastic. And yeah, I think you can still, like, if you say we're still getting De Jong, you can still fit De Jong into the team. I think De Jong could be your Eriksen. That'll be your rotation. Yep. Eriksen and De Jong, they're your rotation. And I think we need to start looking at a young defensive midfielder right now. We need to start finding this guy.
Tchouaméni would have been perfect.
Well, yeah, but so we need to start looking at somebody right now, so we can bring him in and he can play second fiddle to Casemiro, learn from him, develop his game, and then when Casemiro starts aging out, you've got the automatic replacement to come in. That's what a smart team would do. But obviously, with the Glazers in charge, it's tricky. But hopefully, new owners, things might change. We'll see what happens.
I mean, imagine a midfield of De Jong, Bruno, and Casemiro. That'd be fucking unreal. Absolutely unreal.
It's very possible.
Nick's watching games with his pants off every single weekend.
I am. I really am. What a midfield that'd be. If you get a decent striker in there as well, you've got your Anthony, Rashford, and then a proper number 9 up top, like a physical,
it's very
quick.
Possible.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Anything can happen. If last season you would have told me like we will have a midfield of Bruno, Casemiro, and Eriksen, then I would never have believed that.
So, Killian, if you're listening, get a plane over to Manchester, mate. We'll take you up top. We need a striker like Mbappe. We won't get him, but we'll need a striker like
Have we got to make him director of football if we bring him in? Have we got to do that?
Fuck it. Pay him what he wants. The man is different gravy.
I don't want that guy anywhere.
Nah, me neither. I don't want him anywhere near this team. Don't bring him.
Have we not learned anything?
No.
Look. I get it. I completely understand it, right? But a man of his ability can do whatever. He's unreal. He's unreal.
Nick, let me pose a question, Nick. Do you want Neymar at United with the shite he brings?
Yeah.
No, I get it, but I think Mbappe is on a different level to a lot of
but
players
would you like Neymar if he was offered to you? The shite he brings.
No, also Mbappe is 21, 22. So he's like years behind the Neymar. You can get a good 5 years out of him. That's if he doesn't do an interview with Piers Morgan or something like that, and it comes out breaking news.
It'll happen.
What have we been talking about the whole time, the whole season? The dressing room.
No, I know. I'm in dreamland. I get it.
Trick like that,
But his talent right now.
No denial. No denial of his talent.
Yeah, no denial. I mean,
he can win games on his own.
Somewhere else. Yeah. Do it somewhere.
Stay in PSG. Stay in PSG in a one-team league and win the Farmers title every year. Just stay there. Just do whatever you want.
Just stay there.
We
don't need that.
I think my Mbappe balloon's been shot down. Anyway, last thing on Casemiro. So Gabriel Jesus was talking about him as well whilst he's obviously on international duty. He said he doesn't get the respect he deserves. Why do you think that is about Casemiro?
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's a fact. Well, like I was saying earlier, because you had the Modric, you had Toni Kroos, people didn't really, get to see all his qualities. Now we're starting to see his qualities, and I think, to be honest, we'll be able to see a lot of that in the Man United team because he doesn't have those two doing the work for him. So he'll have to do a lot more, in terms of the passing range, in terms of dictating the game and things like that. But it's clear that he's a humble type player, he's a system player. So obviously it's easy to overlook him. And at Real Madrid, there were stars at Real Madrid. Yeah, Sergio Ramos,
Every player basically that's in the team.
Every player basically, yeah. And he wasn't one of them ones, So that's why it's very easy to overlook. But then you notice that the people who've played with him, the people who know him, that's he's respected. Everyone has something good to say about him.
Eriksen said it, didn't he?
So it's easy.
Eriksen said it in an interview recently. He said, "Who's the best midfielder you play with?" He said, "Casemiro, by a mile."
Because he's won 30 Champions Leagues. He said
he's the best one by a mile.
Yeah. Do you think it's the position though? Because Carrick had the same thing, didn't he? I think Carrick was criminally underrated. And I think it's because it's that position where all the kind of hard work goes unnoticed. Not a lot of people like the shiny things like goals and stuff like that. They don't really notice, someone scanning for a position and they pick that last ditch tackle. Like they don't like that as much as they like, a volley from 30 yards or whatever. So maybe that's kind of the reason why.
I remember the summer where we bought Michael Carrick. Like that was our only buy, and I was absolutely fuming because I think Chelsea had spent some crazy amounts. We were supposed to get him going for Obi Mikel, and he was like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think he,
Did he have a
Yeah,
picture?
agreed.
He had a United shirt picture, didn't he? He held it up.
Yeah.
yeah. So they played a youth tournament with him, Messi, and Toni Kroos. All three of them were like, they were the top players at the time. It was Toni Kroos won the player of the tournament, and then it was Messi, and then it was Obi Mikel. We played the final with Argentina, so there was this hype, and I was just going, oh, Obi Mikel's coming, and then we didn't get him, and then Michael Carrick, and I was like, who the fuck? Michael Carrick from Tottenham.
I wish I had that clip.
Yeah.
Bro, that guy came in, and after 2 seasons, like I remember that season when we started with a win of Fulham, 6-1 win or 6-0 win. Carrick was just pulling all the strings, like it was just, and yeah, so that's the type of player. Like, and the thing about Carrick was, even in the England squad, you had Paul Scholes, you had
Didn't get the opportunity,
Gerrard.
did he? Didn't get the opportunity.
Yeah,
in
it was
England.
Gerrard, Lampard. Yeah, so he was always overlooked because that's when Gerrard was on smoke, Lampard was on smoke. You know, Paul Scholes was coming towards the end, but then
Still
so
on
that's
smoke.
So players like that, with a low profile, humble, not always out there, they always get overlooked. But then with time, you start to see, their brilliance and their magic.
And he's got, obviously Casemiro's going to be one of the reasons why, if they do go far in the tournament, it'll be a massive integral part to that team. Because with all the attacking flair in there, still you look at the defense, it's almost as admirable for me. Like Marquinhos, Thiago Silva, Casemiro, it's like you kind of triangle there at the back, solid, absolutely solid.
There's a saying that we do not know the value of some things until or unless that thing goes off from our hands. So that's the case was with Casemiro when he was in Madrid.
Never know.
And with Casemiro, I think his position and his the name what he had in Real Madrid was not up to what he was doing at that place. And I can see the same happening with Sergio Busquets when Xavi and Iniesta were in their team.
Absolutely.
So similar to what that these type of players are overshadowed by the players who are more attacking so yeah.
Absolutely, that was a very good example with Sergio Busquets, because now this is when we see.
I saw something the other day about Busquets. There was a guy who was describing. He was like, I couldn't tell you one thing he's done. Like, he just does all like the work, like goes unnoticed basically. Because they're them DMs they do, like they don't get praised for it. But yeah, he was like. Amazing player, one of the best ever in his position. Couldn't tell you one thing he's done. It's just like, fair assessment. I get it. Right then, let's talk about the United players at the World Cup. Obviously, we have quite a few players there, but we'll speak about a few standout performers. You can probably already guess who it's going to be. We've spoken about Casemiro, so he's had his due praise. I want to talk about Marcus Rashford and the resurgence of him right now. A quote from Gary Neville that he mentioned on his Sky podcast. He said, Rashford went through a difficult period where he probably wondered if his own club was turning against him or he should go somewhere else. I've played with players who had the same experience and they came out stronger. Trent said something on him as well, which is ironic. He said, Rashford is technical, he can score goals, he can create goals. As defenders, you don't want to play against players like him because you worry about what they're going to do, whether they're going to score or create. Still tell he's got a little bit of PTSD from when he absolutely turned him and buried it in the bottom right corner. But Rashford has been phenomenal. Every minute he's had with England, in my opinion. He's scaring defenders again. He looks back to his best. He's flying at the minute, scoring free kicks. Like, what would you put that down to, Sam? What do you think the main thing is? Do you think maybe things are being managed off the pitch better? Maybe the new boss coming in? Like, what would you put it down to?
I know, I think Southgate mentioned he went to see Rashford, didn't he, in the summer? And he had like a sit-down meeting of like 2 hours and sort of chatted through everything and sort of spoke through like what he wanted from him, what he needed, because obviously he was out of the team for a while. So I think him having an actual summer off, that helps, because he's not had a summer off in 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
He's been consistently playing injured with his back, his shoulder, his ankle. I think he did an interview, didn't he, recently, and said his mental health or his mindset wasn't right last season. Like, he was suffering and he wasn't quite there, and he just sort of couldn't make things click. And I'm not sure what he was suffering from or what it was, but I'm sure we've all been through moments like that in our life. So things like that can really sort of offset you and like mess up your game or your flow and stuff. So it's probably a combination of all of those. And then what's brought him back? You got a brand new manager in Ten Hag, who is known for rejuvenating players, for improving players, especially young players. Like, let's not forget what Rashford is, 25, 24?
Somewhere, yeah. Somewhere around
he's
that
not
area.
old, man. Like, he's not that old. Like, he's still a young player in terms of the game. So he's not at his peak yet. Like, normally peak 27, 28. That's when you start hitting your peak. So
yeah,
the manager that's been brought in is known for doing this and known for sort of rejuvenating players. So that's helped. He's into a system that really works towards his strengths. We've seen, like, I know you're a big fan of playing him in at number 9. Balls behind the defence lines to run onto. How many times have we seen that goal this season? Like, running onto.
Well, they nearly did it against Thingy, didn't it? Against Wales, like the first one. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a manager playing to his strengths. So that's helped. He's got a bunch of. Is he our top scorer for United?
Yeah, 3 goals. Oh, right, for United. Yeah, for United as well.
So
and England.
Yeah, so his confidence is flowing, and like a lot of players, they're pure confidence players. When they're confident, they're unstoppable. And you saw that season between him and Nancy Martial when they were on top of the world and they were just destroying teams.
Yeah.
20-odd goals season. So if you can get this boy playing and this guy playing, he's fantastic. He's a great player. He's just, when he's poor, his level just seems to absolutely fall through the floor for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I've never nobody questions this guy's talent. Like, the guy's talented. It's just getting him to the mental state and the point of his confidence is flowing, and he's good. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things, but I'm glad to see he's playing well for England. I'm glad to see he's playing well for United, and long may it continue, because it can only be good things.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, when you look at the players of this world, like your Mbappe, Neymar's, even like go back to Hazard when he was in the Prem, unreal. How high is Rashford's ceiling on a measurement, do you think, for you personally?
Yeah, I think whatever his ceiling is, but we have still not seen that. But we have gone close to that when Rashford, maybe a couple of seasons before, when he was being compared with Mbappe. So that was his level close to the ceiling. But I still think he can cross that level as well. But at the same time, it needs the motivation. I have seen with Rashford is that he needs that motivation off the pitch, and the confidence level has to be built off the pitch, and that's where Ten Hag has come in and improved his mindset. And I can also give credit to Southgate for improving his form. And his ceiling is, I think, still because he has the pace, he has the finishing, he has all the qualities of a proper striker or a winger. I think his ceiling is very high, maybe close to Mbappe. We can have his ceilings, yeah.
Wow, big praise from Dan there. Do you think, so that if you can maintain that right now for the foreseeable, or at least on a consistent basis, would you consider him one of the best in his position?
No, I really like Rashford, but let's not get ahead of ourselves here. He's scoring goals. He hasn't been electric just yet. Up until
you don't think so for England?
No, he scored, but then remember, up until he scored, like the games have been like very dire.
He was bright though. I thought even in the as a sub when he came on, he was running at players, like getting on, doing things that's electric for me.
No, but I've seen him play way better for Man United this season than he did for England. So, like, I'm not trying to like pour like cold water on what he's done. I'm just saying we shouldn't get ahead of ourselves. I haven't personally found him to be to be super electric or super like in form. But what's really encouraging is that he's nowhere close to what he was, to what we saw last season. And a lot of that has to deal with the way he's being nurtured at the moment. He actually has a coach now, like a proper manager. And I think if he keeps developing, I think there's more to come. We've seen him use his head more often. I've mentioned this before. I think we've talked about this on the show before. How he's starting to use his head, in more plays. There's a lot of more to see from him. I think we can develop him into a really, really good player. I won't go as far as saying he's going to be one of the best or like Mbappe type.
No, don't mean is he going to be that? I mean, at his level right now, if he which we know is like one of his best levels, or close to it at least.
Yeah.
Can he be considered in that bracket with others that are performing well at the minute? I can't think of wingers at top. Let's look at Vinicius, for example, at Real Madrid, or I don't know.
I think
You know what I
I
mean?
think the key is I think it's possible. The key is just consistency. Rashford needs to be consistent, and we know that on his day he's almost unplayable. You know, I keep going back to that Europa League season that we won, and he was what, 21 or something.
Yeah.
That season was when, you know, that was when I was like, okay, this guy is something, because I mean, this is when we you know, we were looking to players to come up and do something. You know, he really stepped up at the time. So yes, if he's consistent, because we know what he can do when he's on smoke. If he manages to keep that, it's easy. He can easily be as good as any one of them.
And the last question on Rashford, could be in with a chance for the Golden Boot. Again, don't want to get ahead of myself, I'm not saying that, but he is in contention. You know, he's up there, he's joint, whatever it is at the minute, with 3 goals. I wonder what the odds would have been for that before the tournament. It would have been absolutely mental. But do you think if he can continue that with England go far in the tournament, if he got the Golden Boot, and I don't think anyone would have expected that, would they, Sam?
No, I said Harry Kane, and he's not scored a goal. Played 3 games.
But he's top of the assist. He's top of the assist chart, isn't it?
So weird, isn't it? So weird. So weird. He scored no goals, but his assist has been fantastic. He's great assist. And it's drawing similarities, Rashford. Is he on the same amount of goals as Gakpo? Like him and Gakpo?
Yeah.
So, like, might be a match made in heaven, lads. Just saying.
Who knows? Who knows? Gakpo can play anywhere. So yeah, United again. If you're listening, can sign him. And another one of our players, Bruno Fernandes, been absolutely on fire for Portugal. His first game against Ghana registered 2 assists, 94% pass accuracy, 5 out of 6 long balls completed. Second game against Uruguay, 2 goals against them. Been, in my opinion, by Portugal's best player. And I think the fact that him and Joao Felix are having that kind of fluidity in the attacking kind of areas, can kind of drift wherever, causing absolute havoc, and he seems to be thriving at the moment. I know he's been relatively good this season so far, Severe, but what's the catalyst for his form in the World Cup, do you think? Because he's been scrutinised quite a lot before for the fact that he can't play with Ronaldo in the Portuguese team. Sometimes he hasn't been playing in the qualifiers and stuff. He's been dropped. What do you think the catalyst is why he's playing so well this tournament?
Portugal used to play, well, at least in the Euros, they were playing like a 4-3-3, and it was Bernardo. I can't remember who else was. He wasn't one. He was always coming off the bench. It was Bernardo, the guy at
Bernardo Silva.
Wolves.
Ruben Neves.
Yeah. So he was always coming. Bruno was always coming off the bench, but they've kind of moved from that this year, and they're playing with the 4-2-3-1. So they're playing with Bruno in the 10, which is his favorite position. So I think. I'm no expert, but I think that probably has something to do with it, because they've completely gone from what they were doing before. I also think confidence. You know, he's growing in confidence this season. It's just a feel-good thing, and then he's with his people. Bruno has also grown as a leader. I know we still complain about him, but he's kind of also grown as a leader, and he's kind of like taking that leadership position in the Portuguese side. So like when Ronaldo wasn't on the pitch, like he took the penalty. I mean, anyone could have taken it. Bernardo Silva could have taken it. Ruben Neves would have taken it. But Bruno stepped up, and he kind of has that personality within the squad, at least from what I can see. So it's it's a bunch of different things, and I think that's one of the things that's happening when you're happy, when you're in a very harmonious team. You definitely would bring out some of your best performances, and I think that's what we're seeing. And I think he's going to be one of the players of the tournament. You know, when they do the World Cup 11.
Definitely.
I'm very sure. Yeah, I'm sure Bruno will be one. I mean, he would have had 5 assists now if Ronaldo was taking his chances or something.
Yeah. Do we even dare discuss that goal? I don't know. Maybe we'll get into it a little bit later.
He did touch it. It's Bruno's goal.
Yeah.
Didn't touch it.
Yeah. Rumours, Sam, Real Madrid might be sniffing.
Sorry, you might cut out. I didn't get what you said.
Rumours that Real Madrid might be sniffing around Bruno Fernandes.
They can fuck off. Leave him the fuck alone. Go away. Don't touch him. Don't come near him. Go find somebody else. You've got enough good fucking
Go
midfielders.
find Mbappe.
Yeah,
They should go get Mbappe.
You've got
Yeah.
you took Tuchemeni away from Nick. You took Camavinga away from us. You've got Toni Kroos. You've got Luka Modric. You don't need a fucking other world-class midfielder. Just go away.
Yeah.
Like, leave
We've
him.
got Valverde.
Valverde as well. Like, just piss off. Like, just leave our players alone. It's not happening. He's also signed a long-term contract with United, so I think we're all right.
Yeah,
like, in terms of
2026 in it, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Bruno ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, he's staying.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
absolutely.
There you go, Madrid. Someone just click that bit and send it over to Madrid. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere. He's ours. He seems to be playing quite good at the minute, Dan, with Ronaldo in the team. Do you think, in your opinion, there's been any friction between the pair? Because you see things sometimes on the pitch, but then off the pitch, they're saying we've got a great relationship. Like, what's your personal opinion on that?
On this thing, I would say that Bruno Fernandes, his character is that it's such that whenever he's on the pitch, he's like a proper player. It seems like he keeps all his negative things outside the pitch and just play as a team player, even though your teammates have done anything wrong in off the pitch. But yeah, off the pitch, I think there has been some friction between them because you have seen that video. Even though the media may say or the clarifications they might have done saying that the situation was different, but the way it looked like it clearly could be seen that something was there, and that's actually normal. That's natural when your team member who has done these type of interviews and you are seeing them for the first time, then definitely that friction will always be there. And now this the goal thing, that's totally has. I'm not sure.
I did see it from an angle though, where it did look like it flicked. That the curve changed.
Adidas have got the technology of the ball and said there was no like. They see the.
No, I'm not saying right. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying I saw an angle.
Yeah,
where the ball, the curve changed on the ball.
But Adidas have said there's technology in the ball that can tell if something's touched it. And nothing touched it.
It's got DNA. It's got DNA on it.
All right, well, here's a question for you. Where was that technology when Japan scored that goal and it went over the line? Because they not got technology to find that out.
Well, they did, but that's why they didn't show it, didn't they? They were like hiding the pictures. Like they wouldn't show it.
I think just before the show, FIFA has launched a picture of that ball. They have shown the evidence.
Have they done it now?
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I think that could be possible because the angles which we were seeing was bit like a tilted one, where you can see the base of the ball is outside that line, but the body of the ball was could be on the line. That's where that whole discussion is. But there has not been a single picture that shows a proper angle from the corner. So that could clear all the doubts. But this decisions, the VR has been shocking this season, but you never know that.
It's been terrible.
Yeah, and coming to Ronaldo thing, one of the thing I can see why that confusion was all because when Bruno played that cross, that ball was already spinning, and when Ronaldo it passed his head, and when the ball touched the ground or made a bounce, at that time ball had did a bit cut inside the goal, so that could be the point where it made people think that Ronaldo touched the ball. That's shocking when you're playing for a World Cup and you want to win the game, and then you are showing the actions that it literally touched your head. What does it make a difference when you are winning and when your motive is to win the World Cup?
Exactly.
Well, to Ronaldo, it does make a difference. We know this.
You also get the Portuguese FA to go to FIFA and say, get them to get my goal.
You know for a fact, Ronaldo sat there with a voodoo doll. Bruno Fernandes, his head cut out and put on it, and he's just like jabbing it. Or he's got a dartboard with his head on it and throwing darts at it.
I understand Ronaldo is ambitious and he wants all these goals. At least he can keep his emotions inside and not go outside.
It's because he's an attention seeker. But you see Bruno, like Bruno has a lot of critics. There's a lot of critics out there Bruno. But one thing you can never criticize about Bruno is that he's a team player. So I remember one time, I think it was the off season, I can't remember what it was, but there was some people fooling around outside. Well, some of the players, it might have been Matic and Pogba, I don't know. But then they were all supposed to be heading in, and you could see Bruno at the back being like, "Stop fucking around, like come in," you know. And then there was the other thing where Scott McTominay posted a picture of his abs, you know, and Bruno was like, "Bro, it's not about abs, it's about playing on the pitch," you know. So it's like, yeah. So you can tell this guy is all about the team, and I don't care who you are. Like I can guarantee you that even if it's him and Ronaldo, you pick the team. Like there's no doubt. So like the media can kind of make it like, oh, they were just messing about and everything. 90% of communication is body language, and everybody saw what happened when they shook hands. It's not all right with two of them, and Bruno cannot wait for Ronaldo to leave.
Or maybe his performances will improve even more when Ronaldo leaves. And I feel like Bruno's been on the side waiting for this for a little bit. We're running out of time on the show a little bit, so I want very quickly to get through these. Lissandro, just give us a couple of words on him. Do you think he should be playing more for Argentina? Because I fucking do.
Well, they concede when he doesn't play, don't they? Like when they concede. When he plays, they don't concede. It's that simple, man. Get him in the fucking team. Why are we playing a 34-year-old Otamendi? He did cut it for Man City. What are we doing?
Let's not get into the discussion of the Portuguese league whilst we're live on it, shall we? We'll save that for another day. A quick roundup: Christian Eriksen, as per, always great for Denmark, but they was underwhelming, weren't they? In the group stage, Fred, Anthony, Dalot had small appearances. Dalot got an assist today. Do you think he can stay in the Portuguese team now? Because I think there's been an injury to Nuno Mendes at left back. Yeah, so maybe would you think they'll move Cancelo over to left back and start Dalot now?
I think today it was a bit of trial to see whether this pairing can, the left back and right back pairing can work out, but I don't think it worked out that well. I think the next game, Dalot will again go to the bench and Cancelo on the right and Guerrero on the left side. Okay. So that's what today, that was a testing, and that I don't think it went well.
Interesting. Luke Shaw and Maguire, Sevilla, both doing well for England. Can they carry that form for United?
Why did you go to Sevilla for this one?
Just wondering. Just wondering his opinion, that's all.
No, I was fuming when Maguire got chosen over Tomori. Like
we all were, mate. We all were.
Yeah. And everything. But listen, fair play to Maguire. Like, and he needs it. To be fair, I wasn't really thinking Maguire needs this. He needs this confidence boost, and he's actually playing well. Luke Shaw as well is playing really well. Just so you guys know, all three, Anthony, Fred, and what's the left back we have?
Tellez.
Yeah, all three of them are playing at the moment. But Maguire, Shaw, I'm really, really happy with their performances, especially Maguire. He needs this. I mean, if we're going to lose Varane at some point, we need Maguire to be firing. Let's not forget he's given us 2 really good seasons before the horror show that happened. So hopefully he can gain some confidence with this and come back really good player.
I think 2 good seasons is a bit of a stretch, but I'll allow it.
Oh, come on.
He's not had two really good seasons. He's not.
When we came third and when we came second, he was all right. Like he wasn't a bad. He's had
a good and an adequate. That's what, as much as I'll give you.
That's what I would say. That's what I would say. I wouldn't say very good 2 seasons, but again, football opinion. That's how it is. Palestra getting quite a few minutes for Uruguay, but unfortunately for Treyas, they are out of the group stages, aren't they? So Uruguay. Love seeing Suarez crying today. I have to put that out there. Did you see what Ev report on Twitter?
Did he just say
I love this game. He was in a car. He was in a car. He was like, I love this game.
Bro, the whole of Africa was like everyone.
I fucking love it. I love it, man.
I've seen so many memes on it says like Ghana players when they find out Suarez has been knocked out, but they're out, and it's just like a woman with like mixed emotions. Don't know what she's doing. And obviously the last one, Malassia's not even played, has he? Has he got a minute for Netherlands? I don't think I've seen. Not seen at all. So a lot of our players all doing really well. It's nice to see. Hopefully they can all stay fit and come back raring to go. That's the last message I'll leave on that. We're going to go watch some World Cup football. So that concludes the show for today, guys. Thank you everyone for watching. don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash a like on that button. If you want to follow us on social media, all the handles are at the bottom of the graphic or they're in the video description link.
Yep.
Did I say that right?
Yep.
Heading into the weekend, we've got the preview for the Senegal game tomorrow, so make sure you check us out on that. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And yeah, always a pleasure to have you on with us, lads. Go on, Sam.
One thing. Thank you to everybody who donated to the Movember campaign. We raised £160 for Mind charity from Movember. So as you can see, me, Nick, and Niall clean shaven.
I know, it feels weird.
Got rid of the fucking tash that was doing my head in.
No caterpillar on my lip.
Exactly. So thank you to everybody who donated. We appreciate it, and it's gone to a very good cause. So thank you. Also, Serbia up 2-1. Vlahovic has just scored.
Vlahovic.
Ooh. Could be a shout. Could be a shout for United in the summer. Who knows? We'll see you for the preview tomorrow, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you for the lads. Oh no, he didn't. Oh. We'll leave you on a cliffhanger. See you later, guys.
See ya.
Peace.
Bye.